going to leave that in there. I'm going to leave it in because it's so us.
Well, if it actually picked it up, I mean, hell, the thing was, about 2 foot away from me?
I don't know. Great Northern Sexcast, Colleen. How you doing?
Doing pretty damn good on the fact that I grabbed my phone and not the damn microphone.
Well, that's okay. I mean, it's an easy response. So, wedding stories. We're finally getting a few, but it's taken later in the year to get the shameful wedding stories this year.
Well, weddings in general, like in the Midwest, weddings tend to happen not in the spring because spring sucks in the Midwest. So your bachelorette parties, which, I've got like a whole, I see those sales picking up.
Yeah.
And the just the novelties and the stuff that people want, it does tend to, no matter what, it's 2019 now, a crown with little penises on it or tiara with little penises shouldn't be funny. It still is.
Still funny.
It's still funny. People still buy it. It's all ages, even though folks are getting married later.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, it still goes because that's reliably one area that people still feel like splurging a little bit. Although, from what I understand, these bachelor parties and bachelorette parties are becoming like destination things. I can't imagine asking a friend to drop like $2,000 on a weekend or more.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just. I mean, if you want to, if you could I could take everyone to Vegas, or I could burn this pile of money. Fine, go ahead. But. And I understand, but that's fascinating.
Yeah.
It's going through there. In my opinion, save your money for someone's 50th birthday or 40th, the big O birthdays. That's a good party time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, I agree. I couldn't agree more. As you know, my wedding, God, I've been married almost a year again.
Ooh.
Colleen, it'll be
old married lady.
Yeah, September. But yeah, I mean, we did so low key, and I loved it. My first wedding was fraught with all of the things that everybody told me I had to do, and I hated every single part of it.
Yeah, I saved my parents so much money never getting married.
So this is a wedding story about a guest that really, this is one of the worst things I've heard, I think. There is a Facebook wedding shaming group, which I'm going to have to look for. This gal showed up at a wedding and was at the two different, free bars pounding red wine. And they said she was so belligerent and obnoxious and drinking so much so fast that she had it all over her like she'd been in a Cabernet shower. Okay.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And red wine, I can only drink that with food because it's drunkety drunk.
Yeah, I know a lot of folks. I don't drink wine at all because I can't deal with any of the sulfates in it. I blow up like crazy. It's like, oh, this is not, my hands start to balloon up and my face starts to lose features. Yeah, that just, no, wine and I, not friends.
Yeah. And, basically, they were trying to do the wedding speeches. She was talking through all of them, and people were noticing. And then the dancing started, and they said she was like a rhino on the dance floor, and she was bumping into people and double fisting red wine.
How in the world did she get that far into the wedding without? Don't these folks haven't they heard of they ask someone to be the host of the reception or the hostess? I've done that. It would have been my job to get that person the fuck out of there.
Yeah, I don't know, but I'm surprised somebody didn't. At any rate, what?
Yeah, wait, I want to back up. Did you say there's a Facebook shaming site?
Wedding shaming.
I obviously have a very different relationship than social media than the rest of the world. Because there's always people saying, I don't know if I want to do it anymore, or I'm getting rid of this. I'm like, I have it curated exactly the way I want. It's nice and fun.
I think other people that are in the bride mode will look at stuff like this to see what not to do.
Okay.
And, that kind of thing.
Okay.
All right. But anyway, so this drunk person at one point started to try to dance with the bride, almost got wine on the bride, and then she crapped herself on the dance floor.
Oh, God, sorry.
And everybody had to evacuate because it smelled so bad.
This person, how it got that far without someone making this person go away is beyond me. How that is even possible. That is a family with very large boundary issues.
Clearly.
Oh my God.
Do you remember when we talked this a couple of years ago now about the guy that got caught trying to smuggle live turtles in his pants on the flight? Remember that?
Yeah, turtles, birds, I don't know. People keep shoving stuff down their pants.
Right. Well, I just grabbed this one because it's sort of the antithesis.
Okay.
No, this is the antithesis to the pants stuffing.
Okay.
A nervous-looking man trying to fly from Colombia to Spain had a very large toupee, and underneath which was roughly a pound of cocaine, worth $33,500. What do you think?
I'm visualizing. I mean, honestly, most toupees look like shit. So no.
Oh, I know somebody who has one.
Yeah, most. Yeah. I mean, I know people who've you wouldn't know. I mean, there are good pieces out there. There really are. But the majority of them are not. So honestly, why? I mean, you expect a bad toupee more than you expect a good toupee.
Yes.
So, I'd be obviously I can see nervous because how many airports that don't have a zillion dogs?
Yeah. Yeah.
But under the toupee, I mean, honestly, that's not a bad hiding spot for something because you expect it to be ill-fitting and look like crap. And they're hot, so being sweaty, would be fine. Oh, Jesus.
I don't know. I guess my lifelong absolute fear of incarceration has kept me straight all these years. Mm-hmm. No way in hell.
Yeah.
I mean, no. Okay, speaking of social media, here's a situation where it's kind of cool, but kind of creepy at the same time. This is when somebody became a sort of reluctant star, so to speak. This is a female Customs and Border Protection officer. She went viral after photos emerged of her providing security for Mike Pence as he visited the border, Vice President Mike Pence. And she was just kind of in the pictures, and she got noticed, and people just kept sharing these pictures and circling her because she's so good looking. And her name is...
Okay, you have to have something to focus on because the fact that we're holding people in cages is pretty vile. And so if someone was doing anything... I mean, these pictures are going to follow these folks around for decades and decades and decades as historical documents of the shitty time period that we're in. And I would have not wanted to be in any picture that is taken with any of the ruling party right now because it's not going to be good.
Well, yeah, these were just... I mean, they weren't posed photos. I mean, it was snaps of him and she just whatever. And so somebody, people were trying to contact her or whatever. And she just put herself up there on Twitter and just said, look, it's me. I'm a customs officer based in Texas. And I don't know what else to say. Like just doing my job, type of thing. But see, that's where when people keep sharing your pictures, where you'd be kind of like, I don't really know if I like that or not.
No, I mean, she knew there were cameras there, and she's going through there. I don't know how you sort of step away from that, but there are certain people I wouldn't want to be anywhere near, and I don't know how you would, get in that picture. Yeah.
Well, I guess my point is that people kind of zeroed in on her.
Yeah, there was no reason. There was a lot of other stuff to be focused on in that picture versus her.
Yeah. Characterized as a desperate NFL coach, the Tennessee Titan coach Mike Vrabel has claimed, yes, he would in fact chop off his own penis to win the Super Bowl this season. He made the startling confession around 2 months ago. He's got 3 Super Bowl rings. He was a player with Tom Brady on the Pats, but he's never gotten a title as a coach. And when asked if he'd make the ultimate sacrifice to win a Super Bowl, he said, I've been married 20 years, so yeah, probably. I probably might not need it.
That is a rather flippant response. And, I'm sure once again, the once again, things that you say now. I mean, hell, we say this is here forever. Everything I say, everything we've said in the past, 4 years now, 5 years, I lost track. Is there forever. And, and the thing is, it's easy enough to take things out of context. I'm sure there are plenty of snippets you could take out of our conversation that would be the complete opposite of what the hell we were talking about. Is going through there. But you take some risk, but that just seems like an awfully silly, flippant response, And, I mean, it's a very masculine sport. I can't imagine why he just didn't make everybody freaking cringe versus whatever the hell he was going
I think
for.
somebody said, what would you do to win a Super Bowl? And then somebody said, would you cut off your penis?
Yeah.
And he said yes. Pink, I'm kind of liking her even more these days, a.k.a. Alicia Moore. She's got 2 kids now. And remember, she had a picture of him. They were at the beach, and they went off on this whole thread about whether or not the kid was circumcised. And she's like, what the hell is wrong with you people? Well, she's also lashing out at the parenting police again when a kid, there was an Instagram shot of her daughter enjoying a summer's day in the garden. She wrote a sarcastic caption to go along with the snap of Willow running through sprinklers. And she said, here's a picture of my child running through water. It wasn't even filtered. What a waste of water. And no helmet. I hope she had sunscreen. If she slips and falls, she may be traumatized for life. And her mother wasn't even there. I was working in another country. And then she here's her hashtags. The parenting police, if you feel like unfollowing, please go do it quickly. Opinions are like assholes, and so many assholes were her hashtags. So yeah, she's kind of had it. And
I can't imagine. I mean, okay, there are some people that have put their if they're a public persona, have put their children have had photographs with them, but other people have not. And if they have not, don't take a damn picture of the kid. It's going through there. And there's a difference between running through a sprinkler and maybe all showing up as a family for the Toy Story premiere. You know what I mean? Oh my God! People were shaming, and I think it is because they don't do it nearly as much to men. There's a very misogynistic quality, and can certainly be female and be misogynistic. About someone was saying that Meghan Markle was holding her baby wrong, or holding her baby just fine. You know what I mean? Is there anything that people can't? And that's why I don't. I mean, I sort of see some of this stuff, but for the most part, I don't, because I don't go there in social media, and I'm not going to say something awful. And there's been a few times here and there when I've seen something or someone that I'm closer to, and I've sent them a private message going, when I first glanced at this, I thought of this. I know what you're trying to say, but this popped into my head. Did you understand it could be construed that way?
Which is actually a kindness, really.
Yeah, and but it was done in a private message, not on their damn site.
Right.
I don't.
Oh, speaking of, I almost posted this yesterday on Facebook, but I didn't have the time. So I got locked in my own basement storeroom. I keep my shoes down there. It's where I have the majority of my clothes because,
Stuff.
Went down there and I grabbed my pair of shoes and I turned around and it's a latch door. And so it does open from the inside. But the reason I slammed the door was because the cat was hot in pursuit and he was going, rah, 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 rah. He's been very clingy lately. And I didn't want him in there because if he gets into that room, it's way too much fun and it's impossible to find him and catch him and get him back out of there. And I was in a hurry.
Yep.
But then I found myself locked in. Okay. So I'm yelling and my husband can't hear me. So I open the cabinet where the laundry chute comes down. So I yell up the laundry chute, which gave me enough, power. So I'm like, help, I'm stuck down here. And he's like, oh my God. So I hear him walking across the upstairs. I have an old house. And then I hear him coming down the stairs at the other end of the basement. And he's going, Kel, and I'm like, I'm back here. And then he's like, Kel. And then I hear him getting further away. Then I hear him back up the stairs and he goes back up. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm still here. Did he think I was in the walls or that I vaporized? And so now I'm back to the laundry chute. I'm like, where are you? And he's like, I couldn't find you. I'm like, that doesn't mean I'm still trapped. I mean, this is how my day started yesterday. And I was going to post about it, but I thought, oh, God. Yeah. So finally he came down. I hear him go, oh, fuck. Like, because he was trying to do something. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Sorry if my being trapped inconvenienced you. Just have to go to work. Just saying. Paycheck. Can you believe that?
Oh, my God. Oh my God! I would have laughed so hard I probably would have peed my pants while I was being annoyed.
Yeah,
the combination of the brain fighting each other,
and I didn't have time to say to him, "When you just gave up, what the fuck did you think was going to happen?" Like, I'm stuck. Oh my God. Love him to pieces. But if you were to describe our two personalities, he's blissfully unconcerned and I'm Chicken Little. Mm-hmm. Okay. Which is why we work.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. There's all the rumors about flight crews, and I have a longtime family friend who is now a retired pilot for Delta. And, he said that a lot of the rumors about the shit that goes on are true.
Oh, yeah.
And 3 British Airways cabin crew might be fired for having run naked through a hotel during one of their layovers. And they, I just don't even know how to describe this. It went from drinking to spin the bottle to running through the hallways, pounding on doors. And when the hotel called the airline, they were basically rounded up and sent home. And Singapore hotel officials are pissed.
Okay,
and they're tired of it.
Singapore, and you can't do that shit in Singapore. I mean, you can't even put your gum on the street in Singapore.
Have you ever been there?
No, but there's just stories. Whenever anything, but I mean, okay, forget the naked part. Everything else is perfect. I don't know if you would be fired, but you definitely get demoted or suspended for because you've embarrassed your company. This way. Just going through there, and I'm pretty sure that, a lot of these places, you sign contracts when you work. I'm sure there's a code of conduct. And I'm pretty sure that racing around drunk, knocking on doors in hotel rooms is, may not specifically be spelled out as don't do this, but I'm pretty sure it's covered. Unlike they were.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. In more general but still applicable language. Mm-hmm. Probably.
Yeah.
Are you a Piers Morgan fan at all?
I know who he is. I pay no attention to him whatsoever.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, he's on Good Morning Britain over there, but you see him on some networks here once in a while. And he is married to a woman named Celia Walden, who threw up a snap of this topless hunk washing her car in Hollywood on Instagram. And it's Mr. Suds. And so she put it up on Instagram. So him being on, the British equivalent of like a GMA kind of show, mm-hmm. They put it up. So to get quote unquote revenge, he hired this beautiful woman to do the same thing. So they're having this little thing. They're making fun of it. Well, his co-host, Bree, mm-hmm. Had a Mr. Suds. So they're, making fun of it. And now all of a sudden he's getting backlash for hiring a sexy car washer where there was no comments made about the two guys doing it. So.
No, there is generally a double standard with stuff like that. For decades, it's still going on. And for hundreds of years, women have been sexualized. And so when women do it, the guys are supposed to be, flattered. You're not supposed to be annoyed. But on this case, it's a tit for tat sort of deal, to use a term that someone would probably get, upset about because I said tit. But just quick through there. But you've hired someone for a specific thing. I mean, honestly, the fact that that the wife took a picture of someone that she didn't know that there, to me, is more.
Well, it was her car, I guess, or her rental car, or something like that. But even
so, you're taking a picture of someone and posting it without their permission.
I think he posed for it.
Oh, he posed for it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, she hired him to do it.
Oh, and that, okay. I thought maybe she was just someplace.
No. No, she hired a sexy.
This is the whole thing back and forth. These are all consenting human beings.
Right. But no, he was a little miffed.
Yeah.
He was kind of miffed.
No, well, then again, from what I understand, he's sort of an asshole. So, if anyone can poke at him.
Yeah.
It's going through there.
His own wife.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So this girl orders a dildo. Mm-hmm. And it arrives and is handed to her by an older postal worker female. Mm. It was wrapped. You could see exactly what it was and exactly the shape. And she said, I opened the door. I had only met this new postal carrier a couple days prior, and she's holding it like a sword, kind of by the balls, and hands it to her. And the outs, it's like wrapped. It's not in a box. No, you could tell it was a dildo. She said she was red-faced, and the postal worker was red-faced, and she thanked her and slammed the door. And she's like horrified. Who sends it out like that?
No. Okay, the only thing I can think of is that it came out of its original packaging, and someone at the post office decided to wrap it up this way. Because I'm telling you, there is not, and I don't care how progressive, how open, how rah, we sell dildos, a store is out there. Nothing gets shipped that isn't in discreet packaging. It's just that is one place where I don't care how enlightened any sex toy company is. They are not sending any of their merchandise out identifiable.
Yeah.
It's just not, it has not gotten to shipping. And honestly, it should be like that with all shipping, because the amount of things that are stolen and all that sort of stuff. Hell, I never have everything sent to my house.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of stuff being stolen in my neighborhood, but why do I want to be the first one?
Yeah.
People following around Amazon trucks and stuff like that. So that was someone in the postal department who thought they were having thought they were being funny. Yeah. And they're not. And I wouldn't have cared whether it was a dildo or a golf club or an American Girl doll. Mm-hmm. To repackage something so it's identifiable, could possibly be stolen, and obviously not protected. Mm-hmm. Is an asshole thing to do. And
it embarrassed both parties. So,
mm-hmm.
I don't know. Thailand, I guess I didn't know that they had kind of the modesty thing going on over there per se. Mm-hmm. But Thai police made a group of tourists who'd been caught skinny dipping march down the beach after they were reported for being naked in the ocean. And it was a group from several countries, Britain, Australia, Spain, and Japan. They were frolicking in the sea. They were kids, age 17 to 20, and forced them out of the water and walked them back to where their clothes were. Get this, the girls had to scramble to cover their boobs and everything, but the man got a towel.
Yeah, that's... Well, one, why were they so far away from their clothes? Which I find, fascinating. That just sort of pops up to my head, but that's a story. But yeah, that's a highly, highly asshole thing for the officers to do.
Yeah, doesn't surprise me. Mm-hmm. A mom cringed as her 9-year-old daughter found her Ann Summers gel and asked her what it was for. It's Pussy Rub is the label on it, and the little girl got confused because she was relatively certain it wasn't for the cat. Mm-hmm. So she wrote in a closed Facebook group with other moms. She goes, yeah, my 9-year-old just came down the stairs and said, I have a question. And she produced this and wanted to know what it was. So I started laughing, tried to explain the best I could. And she's like, oh my God, do you use that with, your boyfriend? And, yeah. So
what's the kid asked, she answered, and it's a personal blueprint. Yes, it's got sort of a crude name, but it's a brand I like. And
do you know it?
No, I have no idea what it is, but she could, stuff like that. We sell. Did I tell you this? Speaking of lube, we've got Sliquid in the fantasy gift stores now. I may or may not have mentioned that. I can't remember.
What's it called again?
Sliquid. It's a brand that's been around for a while. We had it years ago. And we decided we've had enough people ask for it recently that we brought it back into the stores. Now, it's a huge line. We've only brought back a few things because it's almost impossible to carry an entire line of something. Oh, my God. I could have a store just for freaking lube.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go through there.
So
yeah, but once again, a parent who's like, yeah, this is what's up. Do you just, move, answer the question, move on.
Yeah.
Just going through there.
Well, I think she did a good job.
Yeah.
So, okay, this is kind of weird. U.S. women's soccer getting, all sorts of attention and kudos for their World Cup win, which is awesome. And one of the team members dropped off. Her name is Jaylene Hinkle. She dropped out of the U.S. women's team, and she admitted it was because she didn't want to wear a jersey designed to honor the LGBT community. Ashlyn Harris slammed her as homophobic and intolerant after a video of her explaining that decision resurfaced on Twitter. And she said, I just felt so convicted in my spirit that it wasn't my job to wear this jersey. And then, she went on to say that she accused the U.S. women's team of not being a welcoming place for Christians, and that she gave up her dream because of this and blah, blah, blah. Well, so this started a whole big hoo-ha, and there's a couple on the team that are actually engaged, and they're fighting back saying, we have prayer huddles, so you're insulting all the Christians on the team. And so I don't know, but indubitably,
indubitably your religion is between you and yourself, and it does not.
Yeah.
And if it's something that you don't, and if it's something that you get to exclude yourself. They were not excluding you.
Yeah.
It's going through there.
Yeah.
If fine, if that's how you feel, then you made a decision, and it's not the team's, issue. You're, it's separate.
Yeah.
Going through the only person excluding her is herself.
Yeah. I just, I'm wondering, like, okay, you think about, this just popped into my head. The NFL will do certain game days where they have either pink sneakers or things to do breast cancer awareness and things like that. And I'm not entirely sure how they decided to outwardly and visibly support that. It's great because it's a big deal, but it's like, is a cause like a disease cure different than a support for LGBTQ, which could be considered, well, it's not a disease for sure, but you know what I mean. Is that any different?
It's human rights versus a disease, so it's different there, but that's going through there. But once again, the person that, the organization, the team, that thing that you've played for has decided to do something. And, you can, whether, if they decided to wear, I don't know, Confederate flags on their jersey and someone excluded them. Not that they, do something racist. You can exclude yourself for that particular, reason. She excludes them. They're the person who decides not to do something is the person that's excluding themselves to some extent.
Yeah.
We're going through there. And there's no one-size-fits-all answer to anything. Every circumstance is a little bit different. But in this one, in the United States, your religion is yours.
Oh, yeah.
And you do not get to, and it's going through there. And so the only person who's just excluding herself is her then. It's going through there.
I totally agree with that. I guess what I'm just wondering is, should we be mixing social and political stuff or any of it with the team things? Because you have so many different people, and it's like you all play soccer. And you're all like, we would want the best of the best to represent us. So, is that adding a layer that doesn't need to be there? I don't know. I'm just asking.
The thing is that when you are visible, like a team is, you do have a platform that a random person does not.
Yeah.
And the league has decided that these are the things that they're going to associate with themselves, much like any advertiser. It's going through there.
That's true. That's a league level decision. Yeah, that makes sense.
Through there.
Yeah. No, I suppose. Yeah. But I was just thinking in terms, because we've talked every once in a while about celebrities who go out and them, like if you're Meryl Streep, the Meryl Streep brand is yours and you're in charge of it. But when you're dealing with a bigger, as you get more people, you have more personalities, you have more things. But yeah, no, that's a fair choice. But yeah, if that's a league level decision, then you're excluding yourself at your own choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Do you know who Aziz Ansari is, the comedian?
Yeah, he had, I think, what was the show? I think it was on Netflix called Master of None. That was quite good. Did a few years of that. I know that I think he and I believe his co-writer were some of the first people of color to get an Emmy for writing.
Oh, wow.
I was going through there a few years ago. I know that he was the one that he's the one that had the anonymous. I had a bad experience on a date person, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
yeah, because he's got a new Netflix special. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. So he did this, I don't know how to explain it, basically like a video, interview talking about where he is now. And he, he's trying to like get his career back, and he sounds very apologetic. I mean, I suppose if you're a public person and your kind of career crashes and you want it back, this would be something that you would do. And he says, he's like, this is very tricky. I felt so many things in the last year. There's times I've been scared. I've been humiliated. There's times I've been embarrassed. And ultimately, I feel terrible that this person felt this way. And he said, I saw the world where I don't ever want to get to do this again, meaning work. Mm-hmm. And, he says, I'm trying to be I
think that's how he started. I was flipping through because I did like that. I was curious. I'd watched a little bit of a show, and that's pretty much how he started his special too.
Yeah.
Going through there. I understand the anonymity, but I also, and he might know who the person is, and hopefully they've been able to chat. But this person had their experience, and it was not good in their mind. But it's been over a year now, and as far as I know, it wasn't like there were 25 other people who said I had the exact same experience. Mm-hmm. So when we talk once again about degrees of things, all things are not equal in you can have a bad date, a bad sexual experience, you can have a sexual assault, you can have a rape, all these different things. They're all, they're different. It's going through there. And this sounds like that people had a very different idea of what the date was and where they were going. Mm-hmm. It sounds like he's went, okay, I didn't know. He should have known, but he didn't. But there is not another 25 people lined up behind this anonymous, as far as I can tell, anonymous letter saying that she had a bad experience with this guy. I can't imagine, honestly, that there isn't almost any guy out there that couldn't have someone write a letter about a date where they did, where one person thought it went one way and one person thought it went another.
Yeah. Well, I think this is yet another situation where, it's not being adjudicated. Mm-hmm. And so I really hate to see a guy lose his ability to work his trade, when he hasn't been convicted and, that kind of thing.
And it's completely different than Louis C.K., who, had a bunch of women say, this happened. And it was in a professional basis, and it was something that happened, it was going through there. Or Bill Cosby, who had a bunch of people, even though it was private, that was private and had nothing to do with work. These are, they're not this, everything is not the same.
Yeah.
We're going through there. And, so, and then he's got there's the other burden too of being a person of color, which tends to be in this country judged more harshly than a white guy. Although, what's his face? Epstein just got no bail, so by the time this is aired, so we'll see what happens, whether or not that gets whether or not he
I can't imagine they would give him bail.
Yeah.
I mean, flight risk.
Yeah. There's nothing. Yeah.
Well, I hope I hope he has a chance that. I just, like I said, there's degrees, and I just don't like forever condemnation of people. Mm-hmm. And it has been fascinating that we got to Epstein. So the fact that they say like underage women, oh, that's a child. Right.
The fact that a lot of places have couched all of the words here, not using the word rape, not using the word child. I mean, that's privilege right there. They describe everything.
Yeah.
There is no such thing as a child prostitute. It's rape.
Right.
I mean, it's something. And so, it's been arrested, bail denied. By the time we get this on the air, because we have to do these little bit of head, it's going through there. Who knows what's going to happen between now and then, whether or not you can appeal stuff like that. But these are heinous effing crimes.
Oh, yeah.
No, there was no way. And the guy's got a couple of bucks and friends all over. There's no way his ass isn't, on a plane somewhere where he can't, get out of.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I'm glad that he didn't make it. Mm-hmm. Speaking of rape and teenagers, there's this special that's being filmed. It's a new TV show. It's a reality show, and it's teens selling sex, the sex business, and they're profiling different people. And this particular girl,
as an 18 and 19-year-old,
17 is when she started.
Okay. Now, I mean, honestly, in many, many places in the United States, the age of consent is 15, 16, 17.
Okay.
We all think it's 18.
Yeah.
But honestly, it's going through there. Yeah, it's different.
It's really depressing though. Mm-hmm. 'Cause she makes up to $2,500 a night. And, is constantly spending money on lip injections and, all that kind of stuff. And she says she is just like anybody else. She likes her job. And she said, I've just been sleeping with, she goes, before I did this, all this time I'd been sleeping with loads of people and not getting any money out of it. So now she does.
Honestly, I have no problems at all with the safe transaction of sex work. A job is a job. You're going through there. And the fact that these things are illegal and that pot is illegal in different places like that, it's not for any logical reasons. It's to control people who do this. It's to control. It's to try and keep people down. The fact that stuff is people are prosecuted unevenly and all this. It's more about controlling people that some people think are less than it is about sex work, or it is about pot or anything like that. Mm-hmm. And and the fact that people are resisting the proper legalization and regulation of these jobs is because then they don't have ways, to control folks. They don't have ways to demonize them.
Right.
As going through there. But to some extent, choosing a job that is possibly dangerous, regardless, I'm not sure you would want, for example, a 17-year-old construction worker. Are they old enough, responsible enough to be in charge of stuff, like that? I mean, I'm not sure what the apprenticeship would be for sex work, maybe it's going through there, but yeah, I do think there needs to be some sort of, safeguards, because there are no safeguards.
She uses, she tells her sister where she is, hoping that will keep her safe. Mm-hmm. And then
with the Festa rule, there's no place to check out online or have people do things. I mean, when Tumblr got rid of the blogs and all these different people, they thought they were, trying to stop trafficking. They just put it more underground. They completely lost safe spaces. So we're getting there when I took the road trip, there was CBD and pot dispensaries from Chicago to Albuquerque. Okay, where pot wasn't legal, there was CBD. So we're slowly getting to the point where enough folks are getting in office to decriminalize certain things that were used to control and demonize other people, and hopefully decriminalizing. And they are also they've already decriminalized like the selling sometimes of sex, but not the buying of it. And they've decided that certain people are always victims and not going through there. But even so, being trafficked, wrong, bad. I'm not saying any of that. But legalizing sex work and taking out of the shadows is going to be a much safer prospect for the women and men involved.
Well, she needs to stop only charging an extra $62 to let guys have sex with her without a condom.
Yeah.
Not smart.
No, because there should obviously be OSHA standard. Needs to be regulated. It should be OSHA standard that there's no sex without a condom.
Yep.
Yep. Just going through there.
So Julio Iglesias. I did not realize. I knew he's been bouncing through the news a little bit.
Really? I did. I knew. I didn't even know he was still. Honestly.
Well, he's only 75. I would have, if you would have asked me, I would have thought he was like in his 80s easily because he always seemed
he's just
old
always,
to me.
Yeah, he's always been there too.
Yeah.
He does. When has Julio not been around? So,
yeah. And he has long refused to provide a DNA sample to settle a Spanish man's claim that he is his biological son. But a judge now decided, fine, we don't need the sample. Judge Jose Miguel Bort Ruiz in Valencia said there's a very obvious physical resemblance, and Wednesday ruled that Iglesias is indeed the father of 43-year-old Javier Sanchez Santos, whose mother claims she had a week-long affair with the married Iglesias in Saint Feliu back in July of 1975. Ruiz also cited certain contacts and dealings between his mother and Iglesias that make it not unlikely or unreasonable that sexual relations existed. This case, 1992, also determined that Sanchez Santos was Iglesias's biological son, but it was overturned on appeal. What is with these two? How come they cannot work this out?
I have no idea. I was going through there, but now a judge, 40 years she's been going back and forth going, this is your kid. And he's like, no.
Well, can I just say...
Yeah. And someone looks at it, and some LA judge said, my guess is that now that the guy is like 40-something years old, he probably looks exactly like his dad. You aging into looking like your DNA.
Well, but I'm sorry, but a resemblance is not enough.
I know.
I just think that's terrifying.
But the judge forced the issue by doing it. Because there's only one way to say
to prove that he won't, yeah. Because almost like not taking the DNA test is like refusing a breathalyzer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
maybe that's Fred. Stop nesting. Fred, the studio dog, is trying to like. Okay. That's good. So Fred, guess what? The show's over. He just got comfy.
Of course. Okay, really, honestly, if we were doing this at my house, this would be the exact moment when my one cat came and sat on my lap, because the cat knows two things. One, if she's not on my lap, she knows the second that I'm supposed to get up, so she.
Gets on you.
Gets on me.
Right. That's a cat-like thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or if she's already on my lap, she knows the exact moment to start snoring.
Your cat snores.
Yeah, this little tiny snores, which means that the cat has become exceptionally comfortable and is asleep on me, not just sitting there and going through there. I'm like, seriously? This is... Yeah, it is hilarious. I don't know how cats know this. They do, though.
Oh,
I can be, if I can be sitting there for an hour, listening to music or maybe reading the paper, doing anything, going through the mail, just being. The moment where I'm like, you start thinking, I gotta pee or I'm thirsty, and then suddenly the cat's sitting on my lap.
I love cats. Mm-hmm. Cats just do not give a shit.
Nope, they don't.
They do not care.
Unless they're in their car carrier and you bring them to the vet for a checkup. Then they shit all over the carrier and then you're,
That's another thing. Oh, yeah. Well, have a good week.
Have a good week.